Yes, and we're finally live. It's the third ODI, third and final ODI of the India-Australia series, and we're here to preview it. We've got Somesh Agarwal, we've got Nikhil Popat. A lot of interesting talking points to discuss today. It's probably going to be the comeback for most big names: Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, and the likes. Probably even Kuldeep Yadav, for that matter, from the Indian contingent. Glenn Maxwell is also expected from the Australian contingent to hopefully make a comeback for them. Again, Nikhil bhai, क्या लगता है आपको? Too many big names coming back. Is that expect a decent encounter at least today?
Yeah, it does feels like a Kushal day, with all puns intended to the Nepal heroics earlier in the day. But yeah, I think good game to view. Last India played a dead rubber, they lost to Bangladesh. Uh, Very keen to see the lineup that plays today because I think they'll again go with five bowlers only. So very keen to see the setup and who's playing and who's not.
We've also got one more comeback that we missed out on. सोमेश अग्रवाल भाई, मतलब 10 दिन के बाद एशिया कप के बाद एकदम वो भी आराम से ब्रेक लेके वापस आ रहे हैं. तो सोमेश भाई, आप बताइए, have you been following the series? What do you make of it? What have you seen so far? What have you liked? And definitely, what have you disliked?
यार कोहली रोहित ने ब्रेक लिया तो मैंने सोचा मेरा भी बनता है.
करेक्ट. हर जगह लीडर्स तो ब्रेक ले रहे हैं, ये तो बात तो सही है.
You all have to gear up for the big thing, right? Yeah, I mean, see, the point is, I'm actually thinking about the last time when Australia looked so shambolic ahead of a big tournament. I mean, they might talk as much as they want about a few players not being available in this series, but let's be fair, the only one big name that they are missing is Mitchell Starc. Now, of course, Maxwell is a big name, but Maxwell is always a high variance player. Maxwell is not a consistent player. I mean, he will win you 1 out of 4 games, but then again, as a core, I mean, I'm not convinced about Australia, and it is they might still end up reaching the semi-finals because let's be fair, the format is as such that I mean, there is not a lot to choose between maybe India and England and the other 8, or not, if not the other 8, the other 4, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, I'm struggling to think of last time when Australia were in so much of a state of cluelessness in terms of their 11, in terms of their squad. There are so many injuries. There are so many crucial players out of form.
True. I mean, just to take that point forward, Nikhil bhai, what do you make of, if I'm not wrong, it was cricket.com who mentioned it during the last review, that it could possibly be that Australia are doing this intentionally to sort of, keeping their cards close to their chest. They don't want to reveal too much. They don't want to, play at their full tilt and all of that. Back then, it did seem like a very juicy conspiracy theory, but do you think there's any merit to that, वो जानबूझ के ऐसे खेल रहे ताकि मतलब जो भी हो वर्ल्ड कप का उनका जो भी होगा वो किसी को पता ना चले?
No, see, firstly, I don't think it's very easy to hide in terms of people and players. Even India is wanting to hide Kuldeep Yadav, which again, it's not that Kuldeep Yadav is going to make his debut in the World Cup. So that said, they want to give them enough rest time. Uh, just to break it, Australia won the toss and they've opted to bat. So that is something now I'm also keen to see. Okay, the thing that I've seen with field with Australia is they wanted to try a lot, which is very evident in the way they've handled Green, Stoinis, English, Marsh, because you see they've all played one game and they've rotated them out. And even in the South Africa series, the kind of batting that you saw from Australia, it's not the usual Australia that you say, which is very efficient and reading the conditions well and not going hell for leather. Because even in that first small chase, everybody wanted to hit fours and sixes only, even though the target wasn't such. So maybe they wanted to try certain things prior, and they figured, okay, maybe South Africa decks and Indian decks are the best time to try it. Fair enough, they've given it a go. The thing that I think they'll still want to take is runs, as Omi said, runs for Smith, game time for Maxwell, and game time together for their bowling unit. I think their bowling unit hasn't played together for a long time now, and that is something that I'm very keen to see how they figure and how they hit as a unit, because in both those first games they played with only two frontline options, and I don't think that's a way that you usually see most teams play. Forget Australia. Yep.
Since you mentioned so much about Australian batting, and all the names that you mentioned, most of them are fairly inexperienced. English bhi pehli baar khel raha hai yahan pe. Marsh was rested. Warner was someone who was coming into the series, with good form, and he also showed quite a bit of it in the second ODI. Somesh, do you see him, getting a good score here? Do you see him being, being one of the pillars for the Australian batting order in the World Cup?
Warner has probably looked the best Australian batter in both games, if I'm not mistaken. So far in the series, he's looked the best Australian batter. But I think with Warner, it's the same case with what is the case with Rohit Sharma. It's like they've played so much cricket lately and are probably at the fag end of their careers that them. It almost seems unlikely that they are in the rhythm of scoring those high 120s, 130s again in ODIs. They might end up doing it, but the point is that they've not done it for a while. So that habit has lost on them. It seems it has lost. I mean, obviously, one game can change anything, and maybe they can sort of build towards it when the World Cup begins. But as of now, yeah, I mean, with Warner, I mean, he becomes a linchpin, right? Because with Head out, Head is probably so. See what Head's injury has done. It has sort of it has induced a lot of headaches for Australia because now Marsh has to open. Marsh has done well when the ball doesn't move, but we all saw what I mean with Shami bowling the way Shami does with the new ball. He didn't seem that comfortable, and in the World Cup, especially in big games, under light ball will move. And with Head's injury, what has now happened is Smith and Labuschagne are in the same 11. Now that is a very uncomfortable idea for me if I'm thinking from an Australia lens, because if it's a 260, 270 game, both of them together is okay. But if it's anything beyond 310, 315, I mean, both of them together might mean that there'll be others who'll have to do the heavy lifting, so to speak, in terms of hitting. Going back to the conspiracy theory that you were talking about, I mean, if I'm not mistaken, it was before the 2003 World Cup, was when England beat them 2-0 in the VB series final just before the World Cup. So yeah, I mean, but even then, that seemed like an anomaly. But right now, Australia have lost 5 ODIs in a row, and convincingly.
Today seems best chance though. You have Rohit and Kohli opening with Shreyas and Surya Kumar. That's all.
Avnish's wet dream, like he was hoping for Rohit and Kohli back at the top. Rohit and Kohli, so that's what he was on and on
about.
Not
there? No KL, no Kishan? I mean, that's
KL is there.
KL is there, Kishan is not there. So
yeah.
It's just 5
Washi's
there.
gotten a chance.
I mean, then again, so okay.
Yeah,
so
Washi has been given a chance.
Does that mean Sky has pipped Kishan in the scheme of things?
I mean, again, let's not get ahead of ourselves.
I'll have to give it to Rohit and Ravi. They have found us ways to talk a lot more about the game. So I'm happy in that sense, but I'll stop there.
Fair point. But Washi gets some game time. Ashwin has been rested today. And talking about just to end the Australia conversation, quite a few changes for them as well. Adam Zampa misses out. Tanveer Sangha comes in. And Glenn Maxwell, of course, Mitchell Starc is back, so is Mitchell Marsh. So yeah, they're pretty much playing the full strength 11 in terms of their batting at least. This is more or less going to be the batting lineup that we'll be expecting to see in the World Cup as well. But yeah, now moving on to India. Somesh, how happy are you seeing Shreyas Iyer get that done?
Absolutely. I mean, see, Shreyas Iyer was the that missing piece of the puzzle for India. It has been a while since India have found a player who's like a perfect fit at number 4, who's able to play spin well, who has that ODI game, so to speak. I mean, of course, Sky has his powers and all of that, but I mean, we are still not convinced that if he has that ODI game, but we need certain player in that number 4 who understands the format, and that is where Shreyas Iyer fit perfectly. It was absolutely bizarre that Australia did not even try bowling bouncers at him, and I don't know why. Maybe that's another one of those reasons that they don't want their bowlers to be bending their back. But the point is, the bowlers that they were playing are not going to play in the World Cup. So even if they get hurt in the process, I mean, that's not going to cause them a lot. But it's just bizarre. I mean, and if other teams do that to Shreyas, I mean, he'll be scoring 100 for fun if teams do not really target him at his weak areas, because apart from that weakness, there is no chink in Shreyas Iyer's game.
But then just because I wanted to get it out, so much are you not missing the left-hander now?
I am, but the point is, कुछ कर नहीं सकते ना उसका.
That was the first point in the very first place कि नहीं कर सकते आप. Top 7 ऐसा है.
See, the point is, अगर Shreyas Iyer injured rehta, then I would have preferred them playing Kishan at 5 rather than playing
of
Sky
course.
at 5. At
Yeah,
least
yeah, yeah.
that
Yeah.
that would have given them the left-right thing. But abhi to
Fair,
kuch,
fair.
there is nothing that can be sorted out.
Yep.
Fair, and thank you, Agrim Jain, in the comments. He's sort of just confirmed that Ash and Kishan, both of them are down with a viral fever that's going
Viral
around in
fever.
the camp. So that's the reason for them missing out. So wow, man, like just how many more bizarre reasons will the Indian team come up with to replace? Like, will we finally see someone just being dropped because of performance-related issues, or
No,
bas
but
ya to
this feels genuine because that's what was said in the press conference as well, that people are sick. So I don't think it's a drop, but I'm worried. What has really caught my eyes, India played two games with only 5 bowlers when the
yeah.
series was alive. But now you've come to a stage where you have 6 bowling options now, and all of them are proper bowling options, and you just have 5 batters. So I will not be surprised if we see a promotion for Jadeja today, or even Sundar, because
Sundar, yeah.
It's a promotion in itself, right? I mean, Jadeja will have to bat at 6.
no,
6?
but I
No,
expect him to bat
not
higher.
this.
Six, yeah,
I'm
yeah.
expecting
6
him to
is his
bat
usual
higher.
spot anyway. What am I saying?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, coming back to Jadeja, I mean, I think since the Asia Cup, India have been able to sort out all the headaches, and literally everyone who's come in has performed, and that's the reason why you can't drop anyone. You have to ensure that they
Yeah.
are unfit or have a niggle or are rested, because there is no reason to drop anyone in the team anymore. But
Yeah.
the one problem that still remains unsolved is Ravindra Jadeja with the bat. Even in these 2 games, he did not get ample opportunities to bat. So on that regard, maybe I agree with Nikhil that it's a good game for them to sort of try and have Jadeja batting at even 3, because at the end of the day you'll have Shreyas Iyer batting at 4 and KL batting at 5 in the World Cup as well. So I mean that 3 is sort of an open position. You are treating this game as a warm-up game anyway, looking at the 11. So why not just give Jadeja the time that he needs in the middle?
I mean, talk about going for a left field choice, but yeah, Nikhil does agree. I mean, since you brought Jadeja up, Jadeja's batting, of course, has been a disappointment so far. What do you make of his bowling? Like Nikhil bhai, you were talking about the speeds that he'd been, bowling at, and you compared it with Ashwin in the last game as well. You been happy so far, Rajkot being his home, and do you see him also being amongst the wickets today?
Yeah, of course. In that sense, see, he's been able to get wickets in almost every game because he's been able to bowl good lines. I still feel there is a game where I hope it doesn't come down to cost because of how quick he's bowling. Because even in the last game, I felt that he was getting the ball to spin even when he was bowling very quick. So that's where I felt that okay, again, the sometimes the opponents don't require you to do a lot more. So maybe if he's playing in England and an informed Josh Butler and Ben Stokes are going around, that's when we'll probably see how Jadeja wants to change his lines or change his pace a bit. But otherwise, he's been able to hit his mark and he's been getting some turn. As per the pitch report, it is a flat deck, but Rohit expects it to be dry. So again, we have contrasting reports there, but we'll keep having the discussion about his wickets because you want that all round, as Somesh said, the box being ticked with Jadeja. That wickets to फिर भी आ रहे, but अभी at this point of time I'm more interested in runs from him and confident runs from him versus whatever it is, pace, spin, जो भी हो. So देखते हैं because Australia still don't have a lot of lefties and India have still held on to the fact that will only bowl Jadeja when Warner is out. So very keen to see if they do that today because you don't have Ashwin, but you have Sundar, and that is a very interesting thing to play with Kuldeep also playing.
True. I mean, since you mentioned Australia and lefties, one more lefty that's making a comeback is Mitchell Starc, who really has been a fantastic proponent and a fantastic option for the Australians with the new ball. So much, why do you think Mitchell Starc coming back with the new ball will really add that much more tooth to their bowling attack? Because so far they've been toothless, to say the least.
See, I think unless and until Mitchell Starc has a kind of a World Cup that he has had in 2015, 2019, Australia are gonna be in a spot of bother come the World Cup. Not just this game, even the World Cup itself, because we've already seen that without him and without the wicket offering enough assistance to Zampa, the bowling is sort of toothless. Some might say that they've not played together, but let's be fair. Cummins is not as elite a white ball bowler as he's a red ball bowler. And I think to an extent, the same applies to Josh Hazelwood as well. And not to forget, if they want to fit in both Zampa and Agar in the 11, which they might want to at certain stage, they will have to pick one between Cummins and Hazelwood anyway, unless and until they are they want to don't want any batting depth, so to speak. That's one point. Second point is both Stoinis and Cameron Green. I mean, they've tried to mold them into proper bowlers, but I mean, let's be fair. Both of them have looked like they can easily go for 100 in their 10 overs if they are allowed to bowl their quota of overs, especially on true-ish wickets. You don't even need proper true wickets. Even if there is some flatness to the wickets, they're not as lethal as maybe they can be in certain situations or certain wickets where cutters and all are useful. So I think Mitchell Starc is Australia's most important player, not just in this game and in the World Cup itself.
But do you think, so much just on that point, that they don't actually want the batting depth because the kind of players Starc and Cummins are, you still expect some runs from them. So it's not that they can't rotate or find the fence.
Agreed. But if that is the case, then they'll have Agar at 7. If they want to fit all the 3 pacers and the 2 spinners, Agar at 7 with
all three
8 and 9.
I'm not saying.
Yeah. No, so but again, that's the point, right? I mean, if they want if they want to have their best for 5 bowlers,
bowling attacks,
then that'll mean Carey at 6 and Agar at 7. And to be honest, Carey at 6, I mean, Australia, looking at the kind of wicketkeeper batters that they've had, Carey bhi, matlab uska form, it's slightly dodgy, right? I mean, 2019 World Cup, around that time, he was probably at his peak. He was scoring runs in BBL. He's had a horrid season in test matches as well. Obviously, I don't want to mix formats, but he had a torrid time in India. Forgettable Ashes, apart from that one incident with Johnny Bairstow. Literally forgettable Ashes on what were pretty flat decks. Excellent. And even his white ball form off late has been nothing of note. Even on flat wickets against South Africa, I mean, I'm not sure. I saw an innings which created a difference when it came to Carey. So Carey at 6, Agar at 7 is something. I mean, with Smith and Labuschagne in the same 11. I mean, it's not the Australia of your.
Yeah. I actually think they'll not probably take Labuschagne there, and they can get in an all-rounder, which is, of course, they'll firstly have Maxwell maybe. So then that solves their purpose. So 5 you either have Green or Stoinis. So
even then, let's say, so if the kind of 11 that I had, let's say if both Stoinis and Green are not picked because Stoinis is like literally struggling with the bat big time. He's not had a 50 plus score in 3 years. Cameron Green, his bowling is not there yet. If they pick the proper in-form players, then you have Warner, Marsh open, Smith, Labuschagne at 3-4, and Maxwell at 5. That's it. Then it's your Carey, Agar, and Zampa and the 3 pacers.
Too many to risk.
Yeah.
All right, interesting points those. And even I was trying to think, so for Australia to even try and fit, either or both of Stoinis and Green, they'll invariably have to let go of, one of Starc or Hazelwood, because Cummins being the leader, he won't be rested.
That's the point. So that means Hazelwood is out. I mean, you can't leave Starc. Starc is perhaps the best ODI bowler of the past 15 years.
Oh, wow. Interesting. I love Starc. No RCB bias है. Just love Starc. Loved his action.
There is no RCB. एक सीजन खेला है भाई. ऐसे तो फिर
2 सीजन.
शिवम दुबे का क्रेडिट भी ले लो फिर तुम.
अरे शिवम दुबे का
मोइन क्रेडिट ले लो, चलो सबका ले लो.
ठीक है, चलो. At the end of that, Rose, let's just take a few comments there. Vasant Narayan, he was one of the first ones to comment. He said, hello to Down Under. Hello, Vasant. He also asked us, should Rohit play just for one match? Isn't it fair to give one more chance for KL? One match won't prove anything. So I'm guessing he's talking about in terms of captaincy, maybe one more chance for KL to lead and probably also test his leadership. What do you make of that? Is there any merit to that? Ki Rohit ko aaj bhi mat khilao and give KL one more shot at ODI captaincy?
But it's not the point, right? There is no context here in terms of wanting to give KL captaincy practice at this point of time. It's not even in bone of contention, and nobody's judging. I think KL Rahul is already established as one of the key players of the leadership group, so to say. So again, this is not the time to debate that. you can't now still not play the top five that you want to. So I already feel they are a game late into getting them together. But maybe from now on is where you will see the score of Rohit, Virat, Shreyas, KL playing all the games together. So this is the first of that lot. So hopefully this two warm-ups and then you start the World Cup in that good form.
Interesting. All right.
One more point, even if ODI as a format continues after this World Cup and the
It will.
baton is passed from Rohit, I mean, Hardik Pandya is inevitably the captain in waiting. So I don't think there is a debate over KL being the captain. It's just a matter of no the options that India have right now. They want to rest Hardik, which is understandable.
Fair, all right. Let's also take Mohit's comment, which unfortunately I've missed out on. Yeah, there it is. Mohit has, called Rohit and Kohli's partnership to, I mean, he's sort of drawn an analogy between Pathan and Tiger. So, Somesh bhai, आपसे ये सवाल पूछना है. I hope Australia post a big total to see some explosive batting by our OG Pathan and Tiger. And they were pretty good to watch. वो India England series, I'm guessing that's the last time they opened in international cricket. वो भी T20 ही था. ODIs में have they ever opened? I don't think they've ever opened together like in ODIs.
Yeah, I mean, even I remember them doing so in T20Is against
Yeah.
England, but
Yeah.
not
So-
in ODIs. I think
Exactly.
so. Australia have already been massively hurt by Jawan in the first two ODIs. Now it's turn for Pathan and Tiger.
All right. Nice wordplay there. Excellent references. But are you looking forward to seeing Rohit and Kohli open in ODIs? Both of them are legends, bona fide legends of the format. Make no mistake. So it'll be pretty cool, right? Like both of them stamping their authority together.
See, I mean, in the past decade, nothing as an Indian fan has sort of ignited more passion in me than watching Kohli and Rohit bat together. Having said that, apart from that one game against Sri Lanka, I really don't have a lot of good memories. Although they've scored a lot of runs as a pair, I think they have 5,000 runs, 5,000 plus runs as a pair.
Yeah.
And I'm just thinking here, wondering, kab bane wo runs? Because inevitably, I mean, the partnership together has not flourished. I feel the reason for that is there's different styles of players. Kohli is someone who
Yeah.
wants to run more twos, and Rohit is someone who's looking for boundary options. So they don't really complement each other. But having being the two most prominent Indian batters of the last decade, it's always it's very watchable, and you want the partnership to succeed.
Yeah. And let's hope neither of them run each other out. That's also important.
Or if they do, maybe the other one goes on and gets a double,
Doubles.
Of
so that
course.
it makes up for it.
Of course. But uske theek baad, Ritik, in the meantime, he's still not sure if Rohit and Kohli are going to be the ones opening for India. He asks, I don't think Rahul should be moved up from his second middle order position. So who will be opening for India? That's fair to assume, right? That Rohit and Kohli would be opening, Nikhil bhai.
Well, unless they send Sundar to open,
Oh, bhai. But I actually wouldn't mind that, to be honest. I really have.
there is
pehle
nothing
to-
to lose there. There is
Yeah.
nothing to lose in that order. And again, it's something that I've been saying for a long time. Okay, maybe ODI may shayad na ho, but there is still enough scope for somebody like Sundar to open because he can use the power play. But again, anything could happen today. Because I feel if they push this top four as it is, I think you'll get caught up very early if you lose early wickets, because then you're going to rely on a set of batters who haven't had a lot of big game time. So Surya Kumar Yadav, Jadeja, Sundar, that's a very thin lower middle order to rely on. So I think that's where maybe KL Rahul could be held back. Okay, no matter what happens, KL bats at 5 or 6 only, and they promote Jadeja above and see how that works out for them. Because Tanvir Sangha, you will expect Jadeja to take care of him at least. But again, we
At
know
least
we
being
never
the
know.
operative word there.
Correct.
But just to take that conversation forward, I remember Nikhil bhai telling in the previous match review that KL Rahul is probably the most important cog in this Indian batting order wheel, so to say. Somesh bhai, do you agree to that? And are you happy with where KL Rahul is right now and the way the Indian middle order is functioning, as a whole, as a unit?
Whenever I watch KL Rahul bat, the way he bats at number 4-5 in ODIs, the one a dialogue that comes to my mind is Nasiruddin Shah from A Wednesday. आप सक्षम हैं ऐसा करने के लिए, बस कर नहीं रहे. Even in the last game, I think the second ball or first ball he faced, smacked for six. I'm like, dude,
Yeah.
look at
Yes.
the amount of talent you possess, and there is absolutely no one that I've ever met or have spoken to who's unconvinced about the
Awesome.
quality or the talent of KL Rahul. It's just that maybe I don't know what's. I mean, ultimately everything is a mental game, and that is where him batting low down the order frees him up. But yeah, I mean,
That's true.
I don't know. I just want to say that at this point of time, there is no other better middle order batter than KL Rahul in the ODI scheme of things. It might even propel him to try this role out in other formats. We'll wait for it. Again, I'm mixing
Nice thing.
format and going against what I usually want other people to do. But
Endorse.
You've become
yeah,
the person
so
you
but
swore to
yeah, I mean,
destroy.
but yeah, it's a very big headache relief for India, and not just a headache relief. It's like an opportunity. The reason why the Indian team is looking as strong as they are. I mean, if you look at all the parameters right now, if you go down to numbers, India are miles ahead of all the other teams. If you look at the batting numbers in ODIs in the past 2 years, if you look at bowling numbers, if you look at spin numbers, there's hardly a department where India are lacking. And a lot of it is got to do with how Shreyas Iyer has clicked at 4, how KL Rahul has clicked at 5. So yeah, I mean, kudos to them.
Fair, and that reminds me, this is probably the first time in the longest time, probably the first time ever for me since I started watching cricket actively, that India in the lead up to the World Cup is looking so good, so competent, so in form, peaking. I mean, in some cases, people might even say too early. So, Mahesh bhai, would you agree with that? Like, do you think this is a case of peaking too early, or are you happy with how India has been performing in the lead up to the World Cup? Because I remember 15, I remember 11, I remember even 19, we lost the home series to Australia, 2-0 up, and then from there we lost it 3-2. 15, I remember the tri series England Australia. 11, I remember South Africa. 7 तो भाई कुछ ज्यादा ही छोटे थे. So मेरे भाई क्या लगता है?
Yeah, I think 11 was also sorted. You somehow knew your first 12. The question was always between, or maybe the first 13. The question was always between Yusuf Pathan and Suresh Raina, and whether or not to include Harbhajan and Ashwin both in the same 11.
Both.
So that 13 was sorted. But I think this time it has gone one level up. But the two main fears that I have is the right-handedness of the batting lineup, and two is your 8, 9, 10, 11. I mean, will they be
All
able
right,
to chip
that
in?
could
Because
be.
there will come a time where they will be needed. And I mean, as much as Shardul Thakur, the batter, has impressed us, but I mean, it's different, right? He's done so many good things in test matches, but in ODIs as a batter, he's not been tested enough. And even if he has been, he's not,
Delivered
come delivered in the way that the team
as much
expected
as
him
you
to.
want.
Yeah.
Fair. All right, let's take a few more questions. पहले थोड़ा मतलब ऐसा, because all these questions will be directed towards Somesh and Nikhil. मैं अपना भी क्वेश्चन ले लेता हूं ताकि हम भी कुछ आंसर कर पाए. Vasant asks, is Akshay supporting Pakistan in the World Cup, or he predicts Netherlands to win the World Cup? He vouches for underdogs, he also went on to say. तो भाई इन सब के लिए we have the mega preview that will be happening from the Friday. 3 episodes where we talk about all the 10 teams and the venues they'll be playing in detail, in depth. So do tune into that. And definitely I have chosen Netherlands because I'd love to talk more and more about them and why Bastille is probably the all-rounder everyone needs to look out for. And who knows, probably Netherlands can win the World Cup. यार कीनिया अगर सेमीफाइनल्स आ सकता है, क्या पता क्या हो जाए. Just be optimistic. So that was that. And our Earth is the best, with regards to Australia's bowling trio, and in terms of how they won't be able to fit everyone in. He probably felt that Ellis, Starc, and Hazelwood are a better trio than
So
Cummins, Starc, and Hazelwood.
I have a question for Nikhil here, and before I get to that question, I just want to talk about Bas Delete. He did a very good interview recently where he spoke about how Netherlands are planning to play total cricket, which means that they want to complement each other and try to run a lot of twos, which is a very underrated factor. Because I remember Dean Jones saying it once, that when he was playing for Australia, there were players, and he even spoke out names of players like David Boone, who were always quick to run their own singles, but kind of lazy when it came to running their
Yeah.
partners' singles. So yeah, so now
Interesting.
coming back to the question to Nikhil, Nikhil, do you think Australia have sort of messed it up by appointing Pat Cummins as their white ball captain?
I think it is something that we feared the moment it happened, because again the kind of workload that he has, uh, and the thing is they wanted him to play everything, which again is not possible for somebody like him, again who's your designated test captain, and we know how much importance they give to that format, and they'll be happy to rest them from the other formats to take care of that format first. So this is why I always feel it was a very tricky thing to go ahead with. But if you look at the other options, I don't think they could have gone back to their batters, because that was a clear no. They didn't think in terms of they would go more than one World Cup. And at that point of time, Pat Cummins ticked most boxes for them in terms of Starc and Hazelwood and other options. You just feel that maybe Cummins is the guy that they'll want to rely on. So again, it's a punt that they have taken. अब कितना चलेगा ये मुझे नहीं पता, but yeah, I think bowling captains, I feel sometimes you'd want them to be bowling captains, but I don't think it's always best in interest of the game.
Fair. And before we go further, Avnish is in the chat, guys. And come on, I mean, I've been banking on you guys. It's like, I've been relying on you guys to not make us sound like broken records again and again. But please make sure that you guys are liking the stream, and make sure you've also hit the subscribe button. More than 30 of you watching, just 10 likes. बहुत नाइंसाफी है भाई, चलो कर लो. Just make sure you guys have hit the like button, and we move on to the ending closing stages of the preview as well. So let's get your predictions in. Mohit Jaripatke, sorry. He says his prediction is 335. He expects Australia to go to 335. Wow, not bad. Nikhil bhai, we'll start with you and then we'll go to Somesh. What do you think? How much is Australia ending up with today?
Yeah, I think they'll start well. The deck is good to begin. I expect some spin to come on. So I'll still hope that India with 6 bowlers should be able to keep them below 300. So my number would be around 272. फिर भी थोड़ा ज्यादा बोला, but ठीक है.
Yeah,
I love the specificity of it.
Yeah, 270 was something that I had in mind as well. So let's see.
Nice.
Great minds think alike. So हम बोलेंगे 354.
Yeah. Now you can see who's an RCB fan in this panel, because Netherlands winning 350 wing scored. So optimistic का level भी देख लो.
100%. And Avnish meanwhile has a question for us. Siraj 6 for
Of course, I mean, talking about RCB lads, how can we not have this?
Sundar ने बोला इसने. I'm disappointed. He should have asked about Sundar.
अरे सुंदर के साथ तो वो सब मतलब it ended very sourly ना. वो SRH जाके ऐसा बहुत बोल दिया कि ये टीम
अभी थोड़ी देर पहले क्रेडिट ले रहे थे आरसीबी का, तो
अरे भाई वो Starc.
No, RCB fans would be most heartbroken if Starc is in the IPL auction and not picked in RCB. It's like कि भाई पूरा चला गया, मतलब हम
पंजाबी है वो, इसके ले लो.
ये सारे मैं तो बोल रहा हूँ 100%. Yep. Since we mentioned Sundar, let's just take a few more comments before we end this. Agrim Jain, he had to say yesterday Dravid was seen talking to Sundar in the nets when Sundar had his pads on. I think we might see a promotion for Sundar today. So Nikhil bhai already said he wouldn't mind that. Somesh, what do you think? Sundar, a promotion for him warranted?
Yeah, I think one of Jadeja and Sundar should be batting at 3. Or maybe even open. Have let Kohli bat at 3, but that would divide us of the Rohit Kohli opening partnership that all of us are awaiting in a game where there is not much to look forward to. But I think either of those two lefties should bat somewhere in the top 3 in my opinion.
Fair, all right, and let's just wrap it up with Avnish's prediction. And this is the beauty of being RCB fans. One of them says 354, the other one of them, practically half of it with 171. यही होता है भाई RCB के साथ, कुछ भी हो सकता है.
So averaging both of you out is what Nikhil and I predicted.
Exactly. So हम अपना वैसा ही है. This is how we average it out. Exactly. So that's it from the preview, guys. We'll probably, catch up with you guys again by 5:36. I mean, Indian fans would be hoping earlier so that they can bundle them out cheaply and then chase it down easily. Well, Nikhil's already given his nod of approval to that shot. Without further ado, let's end the stream. Make sure you guys come back again at 5:30 or 6 whenever the maintenance review happens.
I think it'll be earlier. It has to be. It should be at around 5. Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Let's see. Let's hope that's the case. And that's it from all of us right now. Make sure you've liked the stream. Make sure you've subscribed to our channel. And see you guys soon. Thank you so much.
Cheers.